Hello everyone! Welcome to another Let's Play. This is Phoenix Wright. My name is Anna Mardell. It is almost 30 minutes after midnight, and we are going to finish, the Rise from the Ashes episode. We're just going to finish it. That is Anna Mardell. That's A-N-A, one N, not two, which I hope you all remember, just in case we're ever in a dark room and in self-defense against someone else, I mistakenly shove you, and you plunge into a suit of armor and impale yourself by accident. I want you to make sure that you know how to spell my name properly so that instead of spending your last few moments of life contemplating, your life, your regrets, your victories, you're grappling with your God before you go into the great beyond, or grappling not with your God if you prefer, that instead you will write down on a broken and yet not broken vase my name, to make absolutely sure that everyone knows it was me, even though A, you shouldn't know it was me because it was a dark room and a struggle, and B, you have absolutely no reason to believe that there will be any confusion about what happened, or that the colleagues whom you respect and admire would try to cover up the crime. But here we go. I'm sorry, Edgeworth. I didn't mean to get you in trouble. Don't worry about it. This is my problem, not yours. Hope I'm not interrupting anything, pals. Hey, baby. Oh, guess I am. I'll come back later. Come back. Wait, Detective Gumshoe. What is it? You've got a lot of nerve, pal. Making a detective run around while on duty. And to top it off, you call me here. I've seen happier people at funerals. So that was a direct quote from another episode. I don't remember which one. And it doesn't fit here because he's not a detective. The last I checked, Gant had fired him for letting us search his office. So the callbacks just keep on coming. I take it Lana's having you run errands again. Let me tell you, this is the last time, pal. Here, she asked me to give this to you if there was a break in today's trial. Evidence law for babies. Cool. Oh good, more callbacks. No evidence shall be shown without the approval of the police department. At least it's the same episode callback, but... The chief prosecutor also wanted me to give you a message. A message? She said if you're planning to take him on, you're going to need this book. Why would she want us to take him on when doing so implicitly means that her sister will go down? I don't know. Unregistered evidence presented must be relevant to the case on trial. Okay. All that's left now is the chief prosecutor's sentence. That's where you're wrong, detective. Haven't you figured it out yet? Why I'm still sitting in that prosecutor's seat, despite all these allegations being thrown at me? Mr. Edgeworth! The real trial today hasn't begun yet. What? What else is there left to do? Your credibility's been all but ruined with this forged evidence you were unaware of. Emma Skye found out she's unwittingly caused a man's death. And now you're telling me you want to do more? You've got to be kidding, pal! You're missing the point, detective. Lana didn't murder Detective Goodman. She merely stuck a knife into his dead body. That means the real killer is still out there. What? And we're going to expose him. No matter what it takes. This case has hurt too many people. It's time to bring it to an end. Court will now reconvene for the trial of Miss Lana Skye. Mr. Edgeworth. Yes, Your Honor. The Inquiry Committee is planning to impose harsh penalties for your actions. Yeah, I'm gonna be punished for doing things that anyone would have done because I literally had no way of knowing. Sure, why not? Let's just embrace the conceit. Thank you for the news, Your Honor. Yes, well, normally this is where the prosecution calls for the witness, but this isn't easy to say. There is some concern that you, Mr. Edgeworth, may have, struck a bargain. You think I may have manipulated the witnesses. I didn't say that! It's just, you see, everyone has been talking, and... Very well, Your Honor. I have a solution. A solution? That being the case, the prosecution will allow the defense to call forth all further witnesses. What? There's no precedent for what you're proposing. Undeniably, this is an unusual arrangement, but a very effective one. It would prove I haven't struck any deals with the witnesses. Well, Mr. Wright, what do you say? Edgeworth has found a way to continue the trial. Very well. The defense accepts the prosecution's proposal. Then it's settled. The, defense may now call forth the next witness. Mr. Wright. You do realize this is your last chance. If you call the wrong witness, this trial is as good as over. The defense calls... Time's finally come to bring out the real murderer. I mean, Gant, I guess. Lana's not gonna talk, so... Take that! Damon Gant. The defense calls Damon Gant to the stand. Damon Gant? What does he have to do with anything? Have you even been paying attention? As the defendant's partner 2 years ago, Mr. Gant has first-hand knowledge of the crime. I feel we should hear what he has to say about it, Your Honor. As luck would have it, he should still be in the courthouse. He would also be the least likely to have been manipulated by me in any way. Wouldn't you agree, Your Honor? True. All right, bailiff, please escort Mr. Gant to the stand. I don't have you been paying attention? Witness, please state your name and occupation. What is this? Some kind of practical joke? I was just on my way to lunch. Your name and occupation, sir. Worthy, are you sure you want to do this? Your name and occupation. So, you want to play hardball, eh? Please, Mr. Gant. Fine. My name is Damon Gant. I'm the acting chief of police. Now then, Chief Gant. The court requests to hear your testimony. Oh, righto. What's with the grim face? First, let's clear up this S9 incident. Oh, you mean that time when Lana's sister murdered the prosecutor? Personally, I think it's been made pretty clear already. There are still some things unaccounted for. Oh? Like what? Like the role you played in all of this. Son. Either you're very brave, or you're very foolish. You are aware, of course, that the police chief has all kinds of weapons at his disposal. Weapons? Sure. Take my testimony, for example. I don't have to give it if I don't want to. What? Is that true? I'm afraid so. The chief of police has the right to refuse to testify. Why? Of course, such an action carries with it certain risks. Don't worry. I'm not here to hinder your trial. Just remember, if this turns out to be a big waste of time, don't say I didn't warn you. Very well. The witness may now begin his testimony. That seemed pointless, so I assume it'll come up later. As I recall, Neil and I were questioning him that day. To make a long story short, we slipped up. The power outage didn't help either. When I went to my office, I found Lana there. Apparently, she had already arranged the crime scene. As you can see, I had nothing to do with the forgery. Is that when Dark was arrested? Him? He was lying on the floor unconscious. When Emma sent Neil flying, it seems Dark bumped his head. I see. Everything seems pretty clear-cut. If the police chief has the right to refuse to testify, I'd better hit him hard and fast. Okay. That's the most direct denial. So I'm gonna point out that he had the vase in his safe. You claim you had nothing to do with the forgery. But I'm afraid that is a claim you cannot back up. Explain yourself? Several pieces of evidence were found in your office. Take this jar, for example. That's the blue badger you showed us earlier. A piece of this jar was discovered in your safe. Not only that, this evidence list I presented earlier was actually found inside your desk. It was found where? You see, Chief Gant, these articles of evidence uncovered in your office are both concrete proof that you played a part in this illegal investigation. Chief Gant, what is the meaning of this? Oh. Here's a defense attorney who may rival Worthy. Well, he is my boyfriend for a reason. So you admit to it then, that you were involved in the forgery. Who, me? Or do you mean you? Me? Why would I have anything to do with that? Well, you were the one who snuck into my office when you found this evidence. Prosecutors aren't the only ones capable of forging evidence, you know. Defense attorneys can do so too. Yeah, you're totally right. I snuck into your office and drew the drawing that Emma drew 2 years ago. My bad. Isn't that right, Righto? However, Detective Gumshoe was present during the investigation. Worthy, my boy. Not even detectives are exempt from the law. Rest assured Dick will receive his due punishment. What? If Detective Gumshoe's salary drops any further, he'll end up paying us to work. I mean, it doesn't even make sense because... if I... In light of the detective's presence... Please give us your testimony regarding these pieces of evidence found in your office. And their relation to the forgery that took place at the crime scene. My. Kids these days no longer know how to put 2 and 2 together. Let's see, what was it now? A jar fragment and a list? For all I know, you could have planted them in my office. Anyway, you can't prove when those pieces of evidence were discovered. If they were found after Dark was convicted, then they're worthless. There's no reason I'd participate in a forgery. Rearranging the crime scene wouldn't help me out in any way. Oh, I'm sure you could. Mr. Wright. Yes, Your Honor? When investigating the crime scene, you should have been more careful to observe protocol. You're right, Your Honor. I should have asked permission from the Chief of Police to investigate whether the Chief of Police was involved in cover-up of evidence. I don't know what I was thinking. You do understand that I am the Chief of Police, right? There will be consequences. Indeed, I believe I will press charges, so you won't make the same mistake again. What charge would you like to press, bitch? I'm a defense attorney. I don't work for you. You can't lower my salary. This isn't something that can get me disbarred. I wasn't trespassing. I was escorted there by one of your officers. Come on, bring it. Throw whatever paperwork you want at me. It won't stick. You can threaten Gumshoe. You can threaten Edgeworth. They apparently work for you in some kind of weird hierarchy that makes no sense to me. I am not on your payroll. My apologies, Chief, but would you mind waiting until tomorrow for that? Today is, well, you know. All right, Edgy. In return, though... I know. That place, right? I don't know that I want to know. What's that place? The only thing I can think of is dirty things. Let's talk about that. Really, Chief Gant? At the very least, there is one very large benefit you've reaped from all this. Oh, I wasn't aware. What is this benefit? That would, of course, be the position you have. Chief of Police. Oh. The resolution of the SL9 incident secured your promotion to Chief. That in itself is sufficient motive. Oh, that's a good one. Do you really think I'm that incompetent? What do you mean? Even without that case, I was already next in line to become chief. The resolution of SL9 merely sped up the inevitable a little bit. Is that true, Edgeworth? Yes, he was going to be made chief anyway. Be careful when pointing that finger, or you might wind up being the one pointed at. So that means... there's only one possible motivation for you to commit forgery. If you didn't do it yourself, then you did it for someone else. Don't be silly, Worthy. You know me better than that. There are only 3 people I look out for. Me, myself, and I. There, it's out in the open now. Aji, would you mind if I changed my testimony a little? By all means, please do. Nothing in it for you? Sorry, but the only person I care about is yours truly. That girl, Lana's little sister, was it? If you think I felt sorry for her, you'd better think again. You're right. You don't feel sorry for anyone. Be tough on crime and tough on people. That's how I was raised. You seem to be lax enough on yourself, though. Oh, that's a good one, Worthy. Been something in it for him. I mean, he got Lana to be his personal slave. You might not help out anyone for their sake. But if it would benefit you, you might decide to assist someone. Mr. Wright, it appears you're positively determined to portray the chief as a nice man who likes to lend people a hand. That's not what I mean. Well then, who is this person you believe Chief Gant may have helped forge evidence? I mean, obviously Lana? Take that! Chief Prosecutor Lana Skye? The defendant? I believe it's quite obvious in light of the circumstances. Emma Skye fell victim to an unfortunate series of events. Who would want to help her more than her own sister, Lana? As for Chief Gant, he would also have a reason to help Lana if she asked him to. That reason, of course, is self-profit. Self-profit? What do you mean? After the SL9 incident was resolved, Lana Skye was appointed chief prosecutor at the prosecutor's office. The person who arranged this job change was you, Chief Gant. But how would he profit from all this? I really can't tell if you're just not paying attention or if you're not smart or... He would be able to use the chief prosecutor as his puppet, Your Honor. Essentially, he would acquire unchecked authority over all investigations. Do you mean to tell me that despite the chief's formidable appearance, he plays with puppets? Oh my god. Oh wait! You must mean puppet as in someone forced to do his bidding. Never mind. Admit it, Chief. You assisted Lana Skye in forging evidence. Your motive, to appoint her as chief prosecutor so you could control her. Righto, my boy. You have quite an imagination. Let me ask you something. What? Do you have any proof of this? That I controlled Lana? For example, is Lana testifying that I've done such a thing? Lana. She's keeping quiet to protect Emma. There's no way she'd testify against Gant. I'm afraid that without any proof, this amounts to nothing more than mere conjecture. Unless... that is also what happened in this incident. I thought we all knew that. Is that new information? Like, I thought that was old, existing information. This incident? Which one would this be? Of course I'm talking about the murder of Detective Bruce Goodman. The chief prosecutor has been acting strangely this entire trial. Almost as if someone has been controlling her. Worthy, you'd better watch your tongue. I wouldn't want you to get hurt. Just what do you mean? What he means, Your Honor, is that Chief Gant is involved in the murder of Detective Goodman. Not only that, but the chief is now making Lana take the rap to cover up his involvement. And Lana was so determined to protect her sister that she thought it was a good idea to try to get her involved with this murder too. No one ever said she was smart. What? It's kind of amazing that with all the riotousness of the crowd and the fact that the court basically had to close early yesterday because of the crowd being upset, and everything else that's happened, considering the nature of the case being about forged evidence, it's really interesting that he hasn't closed the court and decided that this needs to be basically not a public case, and it's possible that he doesn't have the ability to do that. When and how judges can close cases is kind of complicated, but I find that amusing or interesting or something, because it's like we're kind of increasingly undermining people's faith in the system here. Great. Order, order. I said order. Mr. Wright, you can't be serious. Why would you think I'm not? Huh? This is an affront to the highest ranking officer in our law enforcement agency. To accuse the chief of police of blackmail and murder? That's impossible. Your Honor, I was merely reiterating what Mr. Edgeworth said in easier to understand language. It's too late, Mr. Wright. There's no turning back for us now. It looks like he's the one who decided to go through with this. Can you prove this, Mr. Wright? That the chief, a high-ranking officer of the law, is involved in this murder? That's what I've been doing. You really have not been paying attention at all, have you? Regardless of his rank or title, Chief Gant is just a man. The question is he a criminal? I believe the evidence will tell. I see. Alright then. Let's see what Mr. Wright's got, and it had better be good. Show us the evidence that ties Chief Gant to the murder of Detective Goodman. Well, I know that nobody gives a damn about the fact that he died in the evidence room, but let's try this. This is the ID card list. Yes, the one that shows who entered the evidence room on the day of the crime. There was one ID on the list we couldn't determine the owner of yesterday. "777. Sorry, but there's no way you can prove that's my card number. It's your number. What? How do you know that? The safe in Chief Gant's office requires a code to open. A 7-digit code. 7 digits? You don't mean... I'm afraid so, Your Honor. The code was 777. The same as the remaining ID card number on that list. Chief Gant, you entered... Uh-oh, it's doing the thing. You entered the evidence room on the day of the crime. Order! Chief Gant, what do you have to say? Nothing. The defense's search of my office was in violation of regulations. Your regulations do not apply to defense attorneys. I don't work for you, buddy. And I will demand Mr. Wright be punished to the maximum extent of the law. But right now, this court demands an explanation from you. About the use of this ID card. Chief Gant, do you admit it? You entered the evidence room on the day of the crime? What about it? I'm chief of police. Whether it's the evidence room or the bathroom, what's the difference? I can go anywhere I want. Tell me, when you entered the room, were you alone? I always go to the bathroom alone, as I do with the evidence room. Detective Goodman wouldn't have happened to be with you that day, would he? Of course not. Why would he be? I hadn't seen him in days. You hadn't seen him in days? Chief Gant, I'm afraid you've just undone yourself. On that day, you had to have met with Detective Goodman. What do you mean? This trial's purpose is to determine Lana Sky's guilt. No, it isn't, Your Honor. This trial's purpose is to determine the truth. If Chief Gant met the victim on the day of the crime, then we need to determine one thing. What transpired during that meeting? In that case, Mr. Wright, I'm going to have to ask you for evidence. Show us proof that the victim went to meet Chief Gant on the day of the crime. Well, wasn't he turning in like a lost badge thingy? Can only be submitted to the Chief of Police. This doesn't make sense though, because it's a matter of record that he stopped filling it out because Marshall put his card back. Like, that's why he didn't finish the item lost or the status report. That's why he didn't turn it in. He found his item and stopped writing a report. Alright, let's think about this. Let's assume this isn't an error. Let's assume it's just something complicated that we haven't figured out. And there's not something else, but I don't know what else Goodman handled. All the rest of this stuff is not related to Goodman. So I think this can only be submitted to the chief of police, because why else would that detail be there? If it's not an error. He stopped filling out the card because Marshall put the card back. But actually, that's not true, because Marshall put the card back after he used it, and by the time Marshall used it, Goodman was dead. So Phoenix just assumed that he stopped filling it out. If he didn't stop filling it out because the card was back, did he run into the chief and the chief offered to take him into the evidence room? Oh, just come in and use mine.
Take that!
Detective Goodman lost his ID card on the day of the crime. Or to be more accurate, Jake Marshall stole it. Detective Goodman filled out a lost item report. He would have had to give that report to the chief of police. Yet you were in possession of the report, which means you can't be sure he filed it. He filed it. How do I know, you ask? Because he needed to enter the evidence room that day. He needed to. Yes, to transfer evidence out. Oh. Detective Goodman took the form to you, Chief Gant. Then, you accompanied the detective to the evidence room. Oh hey, I managed to do it then. Yay! I accompanied him? There's no other way the murderer and Detective Goodman could have entered the room. Hold on, let me guess what you're going to say next. I, the chief of police, murdered poor Goodman. Yeah, I was working towards that. Exactly. But wait! The chief didn't necessarily need to accompany him to the evidence room. He could have just lent him his ID card. Isn't that against the rules? Yes. Now that you mention it, I believe I might have done something of the sort. Sorry, but that's not possible. According to the record, your card was only used once. Yet you showed us your ID card earlier. If you had really lent it to Detective Goodman, it would have been found on his body. Oh my god! Was he just electrocuted? Chief Gant! You did it! The murder was most likely a spur-of-the-moment crime. No one in their right mind would choose the police department as a place to commit murder. After the murder, you contacted Lana at the prosecutor's office. Why? To dispose of Detective Goodman's body, of course.
Objection!
You're forgetting, Mr. Wright. That the victim's body was discovered in the prosecutor's office's parking lot. How did he manage to move it there? I was at the police department the entire day, you know. And everyone's aware that Lana stayed at the prosecutor's office after the ceremony. Everyone except me, it seems. Still, you're the chief of police. You have an entire police force at your disposal. Oh, so you think I just ordered an officer to do it? Hey you! Take this dead body over to the prosecutor's office. I don't think so. Chief Gant, you left all the evidence we need to prove how you moved the body to the prosecutor's office. And all this time, I thought it was just a useless clue taking up space. That's an interesting hint. How could the chief have moved the body? Mr. Wright, show us this evidence. To move the victim's body, Chief Gant used this. Things we have not used. The trophy. The parking stub, I think? No, maybe we did use that one. A screwdriver. Brought back to his office by Gant's request. This is how he moved Detective Goodman's body. What's that? A screwdriver? But what does that have to do with this case? Mr. Edgeworth, think back to the day of the crime. What is this screwdriver doing here? It's here because... I was asked to go. By Chief Gant, no less. He told me he wanted me to keep it here in the prosecutor's office. In any case, on the day of the stabbings, I brought this back here. After the ceremony ended that day, I didn't plan to return to the prosecutor's office. But you did, because Chief Gant asked you to. You mean The body was found in the trunk of Mr. Edgeworth's car. So she didn't borrow his car. I thought she did, and I was frustrated. So the whole game, I have been frustrated almost to tears that we cannot ask how the victim got to the parking lot. Where did he park? In the last episode, I thought that Lana drove him there, and I was furious that Edgeworth didn't mention that Lana drove him there, or that, that Lana had borrowed his car. But Lana did not borrow his car. It had been in the trunk the whole time. The body was moved by that car. Detective Goodman's body was carried in the trunk of Mr. Edgeworth's car. So, Gant killed him. Gant stuffed him into the car. Then Gant called Lana. and told her to go fix it, to take care of it. I'm assuming Gant is also who cleaned up the evidence room? I don't know who else could have. Unless you have another explanation, Chief. Why else would you have asked Mr. Edgeworth to transport evidence from a closed case? There's only one possible explanation. To transport the body to your accomplice. Ms. Lana Scott. Order! Order! What is going on here? Is there no room for rebuttal to the defense's outrageous accusations? It's kind of funny that it's like outrageous to accuse the chief of police of murder, but it's not outrageous to accuse the chief prosecutor, which is how we're here. Think back to the photograph Miss Starr took at the prosecutor's office. This was not a photo of the body being stuffed in the trunk to be taken away. It was exactly the opposite. It is a photo of the body being taken from the trunk. Chief Gant, please say something! I believe your time's up. My time's up? Sorry, Righto, but I'm having lunch with the District Attorney General after this. We have to get going if we're to make it in time for the early bird special. But the cross-examination isn't finished yet. Remember what I told you earlier? A police chief has all kinds of weapons at his disposal. What is the point of this rule? Like, I'm extremely dubious that there's an actual rule like this. It feels like it was created literally just for this one case. Like the right to refuse to testify. I'm invoking that right now. What? That is not a right to be casually invoked. There are certain risks to be considered. So you're going to just run away after all this? Run away? Don't make me laugh, Worthy. I stabbed old Goodman. That's what you're saying, right? But if you had any conclusive evidence, you would have presented it by now. You think I had Lana dispose of the body? If so, then show your proof and get it over with. I'll say it again, Mr. Wright. Damon Gant is the current chief of police. This court will not tolerate any accusations against him without concrete proof. Well, Mr. Wright, Your Honor? Do you have any concrete proof? Proof that Chief Gant murdered Detective Goodman and made Miss Skye dispose of his body. Do I have concrete proof? It's no use showing evidence. I'm not sure of myself. No, Your Honor. At present, I have no conclusive evidence. See, Edgy? In that case, this court is forced to penalize you for your allegations against the chief. I haven't alleged anything. I've shown a possible interpretation of evidence that could clear my client. None of that is against any kind of rule. This is... I'm out of order, you're out of order! What? Here's a tip. Never gamble what you can't afford to lose, Righto. It seems that Lady Luck was on my side again today. Okay, Edgy, I'll leave the rest to you. So, you know, the fact that he had fucking forged evidence in a locked safe in his office, that just isn't important. We've moved past it, I guess. This is so ridiculous. I warned you earlier, Mr. Wright. This is an affront to a senior officer in our nation's law enforcement agency. Lady Luck, huh? Maybe we should have a word with her. Mr. Edgeworth? What do you mean? There's one lady who knows the real truth behind this trial. We haven't yet had the honor of hearing her testimony. A lady who knows the truth. Another witness. In the absence of conclusive evidence, the only other proper method of proof is testimony. But Chief Gant has invoked his right to refuse to testify. Phoenix, a lady who hasn't testified. Count them on one hand. There's still someone else. One more witness who can answer all the questions raised in this trial. Someone right in this very room. Mr. Edgeworth, who is this person? Why are you asking me, Your Honor? Have you forgotten? The defense is the one calling witnesses today. Oh. Mr. Wright, does such a witness exist? She may not be willing to tell the truth, but we can't stop now. Yes, Your Honor. The defense calls forth...
Take that!
The defendant? Lana Skye? She was in the underground parking lot at 5:15 p.m. on February the 21st. Her task to dispose of the victim's body. In accordance with a certain someone's orders. Mr. Edgeworth? The prosecution has no objections, Your Honor. Very well. The court will take its final recess for the day. In 15 minutes, we will reconvene to hear the defendant's testimony. The court is now in Hold on. Huh? Chief Gant? Chief Gant! I thought you were going to eat. Listen good, Lana. He's talking to Lana. I don't think you need me to tell you this, but if you accept Mr. Wright's claims, there will be terrible consequences. That's right. Your sister will be found guilty for Neil Marshall's murder. Okay, can we just stop now? He's threatening a witness, so I mean... And he's literally threatening to suborn the justice system. Can we just gavel, he's guilty, we're done, we can all go home. Of course, you'd never support such outrageous claims anyway, right? Just something to think about. I've got a lunch date to meet. I mean... Okay! If there aren't any further objections, this court is now in recess. Great. Just great. Looks like we managed to stay in the game. Yeah, thanks to your help, Edgeworth. That chief. He's something else, eh, pals? Detective Gumshoe. Haha, I'm not a detective anymore. Sorry about that. Come work for me, you can be a private detective. Don't worry. I've already decided where to work now. At your office. Oh, good! Seriously, yes! My office? Sure. I'll take the place of that top-knotted girl you used to work with. Could he mean... Maya? Still, looks like we're all out of moves now. Chief Gant's done it again. How is it he always gets the upper hand? I mean, he seems to do it by openly threatening people, and nobody tells him he can't do that. So, great police department we have here. It's not fair that he has the right to refuse to testify. It's not fair that he has the right to threaten to send a girl to prison! Settle down, Wright. Remember what the judge said. Risks. What did he mean by that? It's simple. If the chief refuses to testify, the opposite also holds true. You mean he forfeits his right to say anything too? Emma! Are you okay? Yeah. When I came to, I was in the medical office. I've been listening to the trial from the gallery. So she heard everything that's been going on. Emma, I'm sorry for what I said before. No, don't be. It was the truth. You know, it's funny. I almost feel somehow relieved. Relieved? Yeah. Now I finally know what really happened. To think that all this time, my sister was being blackmailed by that terrible man. And she did it all just to protect me. Ever since her appointment as chief prosecutor, everyone who knew her said she changed. Perhaps it was easier that way for her. What do you mean? What do you think I mean? To follow Chief Gant's orders. She must have shut herself up deep inside. To force herself to do anything and everything the chief told her. Yeah, I'm sure that was really hard for all the people that she imprisoned and threatened and murders she helped cover up, and all for literally absolutely nothing, because there is no way that her sister would have gone to jail. I mean, I guess he could have tried to send her to prison. I mean, I just don't see a jury, but apparently jury trials aren't a thing in this dystopian future, so I'm really struggling to feel sorry for, and I normally, you know, blackmail situations are awful, but I mean, once there was a conviction of the guy, you didn't get out of Dodge, you stayed and kept helping to put people away? Hell, once the guy died, you stayed? You didn't leave town? You didn't move? You didn't get out from under this guy? Whatever. That must be why she became so cold.
It was all my fault. It was all because I murdered Mr. Marshall. No, baby, that is not what murder is.
Hey, don't go blaming yourself now. If you want to blame anyone, blame society, pal.
Chief Gant may be able to fool everyone else with his forgery, but he can't fool my memory. I remember now. I knocked Mr. Marshall into that armor.
I see. Well, we better get back. It's time for the final act. Emma, why don't you wait here?
No, I'm going with you. I want to be there when Lana tells the truth.
Let's go, Wright. It's time to end this.
What? No! No! No. This was supposed to be the last. No! This was supposed to be the last episode. That we were gonna go to trial and it was all gonna come. No! So there's probably at least one more courtroom trial. And then there's probably going to be an ending with like an epilogue. It's probably going to be another it's probably going to be another hour or more. Oh man, guys, I'm sorry. I gotta go to bed. I'm barely coherent as it is. I think most of my commentary has been just like garble, 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 garble. And that's not how this works. And no, that's ridiculous. And, you know, various other verbal outbursts. So, gonna go to bed. I will continue this in the morning. Once again, this has been Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney. My name is Anna Mardall, and I will see you in the next video. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.